Warwick, I was looking at the bureaucracy question. Yeah, we want to cut all this spending. In America, that's possible. When the president gets elected, he can appoint, I think, up to like 8,000 bureaucrats. And so he literally came in with an army with short lists ready to go. In the UK, they can't do it. Liz Truss was saying you can only get people from the public service to basically fill these positions. So I had the great pleasure while I was in the USA. I just got back from Washington a month ago. In Washington, I had dinner with Liz Truss and another UK podcaster, and we talked about the state of the UK and Australia and how to get it back on track. And I was just asking, I said, how do you deal with that? I mean, it's the deep state fighting back. And she explained to me in depth how and why they went after her. And I don't know how. It's going to take all hands on deck in the UK to do that. And you've got to bring the people along with you because the deep state will literally attack you. And in Australia, similarly, we've got to quantify how the deep state is ripping off Aussies and when I say the deep state, I mean the wastage bureaucrats that we've got. And how much, 30 to 40 billion is being spent on Aboriginal issues, but it's not yielding any tangible results. It's going to all these planners and...
Well, apparently the Australian government spends about $23,000 on non-Aboriginal citizens and $46,000 on Aboriginal citizens. And as Jacinta Nampijinpa Price says, 80% of Australian Aborigines are integrated, are assimilated.
They're in the urban centres. That's where they live.
And they're existing there very happily. They're probably suffering the same mortgage stress that Australians are under Albanese, the same energy stress, looking for jobs. There's 20%, and they tend to be in the remote areas. And again, that started with Whitlam. And there's a very good book that has been written called Romancing the Primitive. So Rousseau's Noble Savage, that sort of concept has extended into the United States, into the Western world. And what we are also going to do is get rid of the Commonwealth Aboriginal infrastructure industry and put it back to the states. We're going to say, the money we'll save there, just as this federal department that doesn't need to exist. And I think everything that the federal government has taken over, it has managed to either, if it wasn't working when it took it over, they've made it worse. That's a Professor David Flint saying.
David Flint was here yesterday.
I know, he
mentioned a shocking stat to me. He said 80% of the expenditure from government is from the federal government, and for that 20% that is the states, the federal government will put all these, what would you say, this is how you can and can't spend it, the little caveats. But it's absolutely shocking. And just so people know, the Aboriginal expenditure, that 30 to 40 billion every budget, our military budget's about 50.
Well, I'll tell you, and this is shocking. The Niall Ferguson at the
great historian he is.
Yes, great historian, but at the I've forgotten the name.
ARC conference.
Yes, in London.
Yeah.
He made the comment that any great power that spends more servicing its debt than it actually spends on its defence budget will not remain a great power very long. Now, he pointed out that the United States is in that position. Servicing its debt costs more than its defence budget. But Australia, it costs us, we have $1 trillion worth of debt. We had none when Rudd came to power. And servicing it costs us $50 billion a year. Our defence budget is $53 billion. So we are fast approaching that magic line that Niall Ferguson mentioned. We are a middle power, middle-ranking power. That's how we see ourselves, and I think it was fair to say that. Yeah. But we will no longer be a middle-ranking power because of the way our economy is mismanaged, the absurdity of the ideological absurdity of Bowen and Albanese and the Greens destroying the country, destroying the economy, destroying our productivity. We're cheapest energy in the world.
Yeah.
25 years ago, who talked about electricity prices? Who talked about the cost of food in groceries. Who talked about
No one.
the cost of fuel, petrol?
We had the cheapest fuel in the world.
Everybody could get a mortgage.
Yeah.
And we could service the mortgage.
Yeah.
What happened in 25 years?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened. We know what happened. Rudd, Gillard, Turnbull, Morrison, Albanese. It's iniquitous. It's iniquitous, and they're driving us there.
Yeah. It's a sad state of affairs. And to make matters worse, sorry, were you going to say something else?
No, just that. I'm just adding on that what Niall Ferguson said is coming true here. And and if I've understood it correctly, I'm not an economist, and I read that we have a $1 trillion debt. I read that in the pre-election spending or the pre-election promises, I don't know when that started. Let's say it started over the last 3 or 4 months by Albanese. He made $67 billion worth of promises. In the budget, he's added $34 billion worth of promises. Now that's $100 billion in a few months of promises of spending, which is 10% of the debt we already have. The careless indifference with which they treat these numbers and the supposed benefits that we're all going to derive from it. What was it? You said it was a cup of coffee or something.
$4 or $5, I think.
$4 or $5.
Yeah, it didn't even cover the cup of coffee for me to get up here.
And it's kicking off in whenever. It's not starting immediately, but in.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That's brilliant.
And
it's so much to look forward to. I mean, young Aussies, they don't want to go anywhere else.
And they think, yeah, exactly. And Chalmers has got this smug look on his face. Look how well I've done.
Yes.
And it's utterly destructive. And